A Step into the Past Volume 17 Chapter 10. Book 17 Chapter 10 Stargazing. Back at the command center, he had just finished telling Teng Yi about Tian Dan's survival. Just as Teng Yi's face changed color, Jing Jun barged in and reported, Lu Bue is getting ready to attack the farms and is now deploying his men. The two men could not be bothered about Tian Dan anymore. They asked in chorus, "How did you know?" Jing Jun sat down and explained, "Earlier, Meng Tian came secretly to look for me and told me he overheard his father instructing a trusted family warrior to select 2,000 men from his family warriors. Together with traitor Lu's family warriors, they will form an army and attack the farms while disguised as horse thieves. None of us is to be spared. HNG. Meng Ao is such a fool. We must not spare him too." Teng Yi's expression grew serious. "This is not called foolish, this is called cruel. If they succeeded and with Lu Bue sheltering them, who can lay a finger on them? If the Imperial Cavalry commander falls under their control, Xianyang City will be their playground. Luckily, we have always been fortifying our defenses at the farm and have added a perimeter wall recently. They are still ignorant of our true strength, so we still have a fighting chance." Xiang Xiaolong reminded, "Meng Ao is well versed in warfare and he must have capable men under his command. Coupled with the thousands of warriors in Lu residence, they will have double our strength if they attacked with just 7,000 men. If not for Meng Tian's information, we will suffer a huge loss when they attack. Of course it is a different matter now." Teng Yi's face lost color. "Not good. This morning, Pu Buletin and Lu Chao have led 2,000 men towards the northern border. We have lesser manpower and it does not bode well for us." Xiang Xiaolong was shaken. "What? They left already?" Teng Yi sighed, "This is Grandmaster Wu's idea, as eldest brother needs these men urgently. Thus, they made quick preparations and left as early as possible." Jing Jun suggested, "Why don't we get a few men from the cavalry army to help us?" Xiang Xiaolong concluded, "We must never do that. If we have any deployments, that traitor Lu will soon get wind of it. Moreover, our Wu family elite army must not be mixed with outsiders, as this will affect our efficiency. We may also put Meng Tian in danger." Jing Jun nodded, "I nearly forgot to say something. Meng Tian suggested that we run for our lives as he did not expect us to have the ability to face his dad's army." Filled with a heroic air, Teng Yi stated in a deep voice, "I will return to the farm immediately to prepare for battle and disperse all our young and women folk. Third brother and little June can return tomorrow and do not cause any unnecessary alarm. You should not fetch Widow Qin to the farm if possible. The crux of this battle is the element of surprise. We must trick the enemy to continue thinking that we are unprepared for them." Xiang Xiaolong composed himself and nodded, "I understand. This time round, we will make Lu Bue, Meng Ao, and Guanzongzi take a big tumble." Arriving home, Xiang Xiaolong told his wives about Tian Dan being alive, Lu Bue using Wang Xi to ambush him and the imminent attack on the farms. Everyone including Ji Yanran was shaken at this news. Zhao Zi's revenge dream has been shattered. In addition, worrying about Shan Ro's safety has caused her to lose her appetite and she hid in her room crying. Xiang Xiaolong did his best to comfort her and returned back to discuss further with Ji Yanran and Wu Tingfang. Ji Yanran sighed, "Tian Dan's substitute is really remarkable and he imitated his body language and gestures exceedingly well. Even we were tricked." Wu Tingfang bitterly smiled, "If the impersonation is lousy, the fake Tian Dan would not be able to deceive so many of us at the hunting fair." Xiang Xiaolong can feel the hatred swelling up in him. He was thoroughly deceived by this sly old fox. But Tian Dan's substitution trick is meant for the people of Chu and not him, but he was deceived as well. It seems like fate cannot be changed. Ji Yanran forced herself to brighten up. "Luckily, Uncle Qing has built many new weapons that Xiang Xiaolong has invented. We can use this opportunity to test their effectiveness." Xiang Xiaolong recalled his improved weapons and armor and can feel his spirits rising. He was about to speak out when Zhou Wei came in hugging a roll of drawings. Despite her tired look, her eyes are shining with excitement. Ji Yanran gladly mentioned, after little Wei received your instructions, she has been working day and night designing the fake black dragon. It seems like she finally has a breakthrough. Zhou Wei humbly greeted, it is all thanks to Madam's guidance. Xiang Xiaolong received the drawings and spread them open. It was a construction plan with many creative designs. Zhou Wei sat down and began explaining, this black dragon is divided into 18 sections and one man will operate each section. Just by using their hands, they can form a black dragon which can float and sink as needed. When the dragon is built, the men needed some practice to make sure that everything runs smoothly. She added, there is an air bag along the spine of the dragon. When it is filled with air, the dragon can float or sink as needed. To escape underwater undetected, all you need to do is to burst the air bag after the performance. Xiang Xiaolong was overjoyed and he went through the plans with Ji Yanran and Zhou Wei for another 2 hours. They thought hard at all the possibilities and made all the improvements before retiring back to bed. The next morning, Xiang Xiaolong and Jing Shan led the Wu family elite warriors who are in the cavalry army as well as Ji Yanran, Wu Tingfeng, Zhao Ji, Xiang Baoer and the Tian sisters back to the farms. The imperial cavalry army was left in Wu Guo's charge. Xiang Xiaolong set off earlier and went to fetch Qinqing with the 18 guardians. Qinqing is waiting for him in her residence. When he arrived, she set off immediately and joined his entourage. This ancient beauty is delicately dressed with a snow-white cloak and a thin veil that blocks out the strong wind. Her overpowering charm has Jing Shan and the guardians totally spellbound. Riding beside her, Xiang Xiaolong forgot all about Lu Bui's threat and laughed, Grand Tutor Qin is especially pretty today. Qinqing nonchalantly replied, go ahead and tease me all you like. Xiang Xiaolong loosened up, Grand Tutor Qin has a veil on. Are you afraid that we will see your red and embarrassed face? Qinqing has led a chaste life and has never been teased like this. She loudly wailed, you better behave yourself or I will not speak to you during the journey. Xiang Xiaolong had a big shock and hurriedly swallowed the rest of his words. Qinqing charmingly giggled, so Xiang Xiaolong is not as brave as I thought. What did the Empress want with you yesterday? Xiang Xiaolong was astounded, it seems like nothing escapes your detection within the palace. Qinqing plainly replied, the Empress is considered to have spent little time within the palace. Her attendants are mainly made up of Lady Hua Yang's ex-attendants, so if you dare to do anything deceitful, you cannot escape my knowledge. So far, you have been quite honorable. Xiang Xiaolong was amused, Grand Tutor Qin, please forgive me for being rude but I believe it is you who is being deceitful. You have already fallen in love with me but still refused to admit it. Ha! Appearing unmoved, Qinqing mused, all men love to brag and Grand Tutor Xiang is of no exception. On this trip, I am just accompanying Yanran, Tingfeng, and Ji Ji. Official Xiang must be mistaken to sprout such nonsense. Based on this fact, I will not hold it against you but you better watch yourself. Xiang Xiaolong sighed, it seems like I have to resort to force instead. Qinqing shrieked, you dare. The city gates appearing in their view, Xiang Xiaolong squeezed Jai Feng with his legs and he sped forward, laughing loudly, I now understand that dating Grand Tutor Qin is so exciting. Thanks for your sharing. Out of the city, they met up with Ji Yanran and the rest and continued riding. At night, they finally stopped at a high slope and began building tents and cooking meals, enjoying the wonders of Mother Nature. The weather is great and the sky is filled with countless stars. The land is covered with shimmering snow and it was a mysterious and breathtaking sight. Qinqing appears to be in a great mood and is having a private conversation with Ji Yanran. Once in a while, they will give Xiang Xiaolong a mesmerizing look and fill his heart with warmth against the bitter cold. After dinner, the two mothers Wu Tingfeng and Zhao Ji went to coax Xiang Baoer to sleep while Tianzhen and Tianfeng helped to wash up. With Ji Yanran and Qinqing in tow, Xiang Xiaolong went to a slope and laid some blankets on the ground. Sitting down, they looked up to the sky and were lost in the mystifying exquisiteness of the universe. Xiang Xiaolong laid down with Ji Yanran on his left and Qinqing on his right. Enjoying their fragrances, he was completely inebriated and wished that time can stand still in this moment forever. After a while, Ji Yanran bypassed Xiang Xiaolong and started chatting with Qinqing. Like the most melodious music, their voices entered his ears. Funnily, he did not pick up their dialogue and is unwilling to. He is at ease and takes pleasure in hearing their voices just like he is listening to the best musical orchestra. The bright moon slowly rose above the tree branches and gently shone down on them. Sounds of the war horses or humans can be heard occasionally from the top of the slope. It is absolutely tranquil and peaceful. Xiang Xiaolong let out a comfortable sigh. Ji Yanran loving looked down at him and softly asked, "A penny for your thoughts." Xiang Xiaolong stretched out his forelimbs and accidentally brushed past Qinqing's jade legs. He hurriedly shrunk back, but Qinqing had already trembled slightly and whined sensitively in protest. Pretending not to hear anything, Ji Yanran wailed, "I am talking to you." Xiang Xiaolong's heart nearly melted. He stretched out his hand and gently held onto Ji Yanran's hand and yearned, "I was thinking that the three of us can sleep here tonight and enjoy this limitless view. We can count the stars and fall asleep counting them. We may even dream of stars in our sleep." Qinqing was thrilled. How can the sky be unlimited? Xiang Xiaolong smiled. If there is a limit, then there must be a border. But there must be something beyond the border, right? Her eyes shining with joy, Ji Yanran stared up to the sky and softly remarked, "Hubby's words are too deep and even I cannot fathom them. Godfather mentioned before, every human is a star that dropped down from heaven. When we die, we will return back to the sky. Isn't that sweet?" Xiang Xiaolong stared at Qinqing. The beauty is staring at the sky and her flawless looks seem to be part of the attractive sky. Under the moonlight, her face is glowing like a piece of top-quality silk. His heart aroused, Xiang Xiaolong could not help but stretched his other hand over and held her hand tightly too. Qinqing's body trembled again and she shot him a look. Trying to wrest her hand back, she gave up after 2 tries and her face began to burn with passion. Out of a sudden, Xiang Xiaolong felt like he owns the entire beautiful star-studded sky. Everything is materializing like a dream. He remembered the times when he first came to this ancient era and was subjected to numerous sufferings and was bullied by Zhao Mu and other villains. It is all thanks to his strong will and fighting spirit that he managed to cultivate Qin Shi Huang and even won the hearts of these beautiful women. What more can he ask for? To the people who knew him in the 21st century, he had died a long time ago. Who can guess that he is living a different life 2000 years ago during the Warring States period? Is this a kind of reincarnation? When he really dies, will he be reborn again 2000 years later to travel back again in time to this ancient era? It is all due to the time machine which somehow manages to preserve his age and memory. Ji Yanran chirped, "Why are the two of you so quiet?" Qinqing struggled again and realized that she cannot overcome Xiang Xiaolong's iron grip. She whispered, "I don't know why, but I feel so lazy I do not want to say anything." Xiang Xiaolong could not help but utter, "This is called speaking to your loved one at night. Silence can be better than words." Both women shook at the same time and lowered their heads to look at him. Ji Yanran sighed, "These 2 lines are so poetic and appropriate for this present circumstance. There is no line that is more befitting." Qinqing seems to be moved and held his hand harder instead. She softly pleaded, "Can you say a few more lines for me?" Xiang Xiaolong knew that his literacy is limited and most of his lines are the limited knowledge he gained from his high school Mandarin lessons. He bitterly smiled, "I must have an inspired moment and I cannot intentionally create lines whenever I wanted." Qinqing was touched. Inspired moment. These 4 words are already so poetic. AI. Xiang Xiaolong, why is your brain so different from others? Ji Yanran laughed, "If Xiang Xiaolong is a normal man, Sister Qin will not sit beside him and allowed him to accompany you to sleep while admiring the stars. And you will not blame him for being rude to you. Her face turning red immediately, Qin Qing protested, Sister Yanran, you. When did I agree to accompany him? I am going to keep quiet. Ji Yanran coaxed, hubby, do say a few more beautiful lines for Sister Qin. I also wanted to see her moving expression. Xiang Xiaolong wanted to say when the golden wind meets the jade outdoors, it is better than countless moments in man's world, which is what Zhao Yu repeated non-stop before her death. He felt like his heart was being sliced apart by a knife and could not say anything momentarily. Qin Qing was looking intimately at him and was surprised, is Grand Tutor Xiang feeling unwell? Xiang Xiaolong sat up and took a few deep breaths, suppressing the grief he had over Zhao Yu's death. He shook his head, it's nothing. Ji Yanran leaned onto him and gently comforted, except for Sister Qin and me, you are not allowed to think of anything else. Xiang Xiaolong emptied his brain of all thoughts and stared at the faraway mountains that were enveloped in moonshine. Like a lost child, he kept nodding his head. Qin Qing mused, it would be great if Yanran has her jade flute now. Ji Yanran smiled, now, I only wanted to hear hubby say a few touching sentences. Doesn't Sister Qin? Qin Qing loudly complained, Xiang Xiaolong bullying me is bad enough. Now I have to deal with this terrible talented lady Ji too. Xiang Xiaolong composed himself and had an inspiration. He chanted, is there a pub that cannot make you drunk? Is there a lady who does not pine for her loved one? What great ability do I have to gain the affections of the two best women on earth and make this bold statement? Both women were moved, and like two opposing poles of a magnet, their gazes were fixated on his face. Abruptly, Jing Jun's voice rang out behind them, I found them. Following him were Wu Tingfeng and Zhao Ji, who are looking for their hubby, scaring Qin Qing, who frantically yanked her hand back. That night, Xiang Xiaolong, Tianzhen, and Tianfeng shared a tent, only hugging each other to sleep. Times are precarious and it is inadvisable to indulge in pleasures of the flesh. Before the sky has yet to brighten, Xiang Xiaolong is already fully awake while the Tian sisters are still sound asleep like two cute kittens. Xiang Xiaolong carefully slipped out of the warm blankets and put his cloak on. Feeling his way out of the dark tent, he approached Qin Qing's tent. Within the pitch-black tent, Qin Qing's light breathing can be heard. But Xiang Xiaolong suddenly sensed that something is not right. There are a dagger pointing at his own waist, and Ji Yanran's threatening voice can be heard in the darkness. Who is it? Qin Qing's light breathing stopped and she was jolted awake. Xiang Xiaolong was totally humiliated. He whispered, it is me. Ji Yanran chortled and kept her dagger. Leaning into his bosom, she giggled, I am so sorry and my mistake is unpardonable. I actually spoiled hubby's grand plan to raid our tent and make love to us. Qin Qing may be keeping quiet, but Xiang Xiaolong wished he could dig a hole and bury his head inside forever. The sky has just brightened and everyone is occupied with packing their tents. Qin Qing stayed as far apart from Xiang Xiaolong as possible during the journey. Xiang Xiaolong is feeling guilty too, and he rode ahead with Jing Jun and the rest in the front. Shortly after noon, they finally arrived at the farms. There are sentries based on every piece of high ground, strategic locations, and security is extremely tight. Teng Yi is busy instructing the Wu family elite army to plan obstacles and lay traps near the entrances and exits. Xiang Xiaolong and Jing Jun went to assist him while Ji Yanran and the other girls returned back to the farm residences. Teng Yi led the two men on an inspection tour of the farm layout and defenses. As he rode his horse alongside them, he explained, our farms is enormous and it is impossible to guard against every battle line. Therefore, I have focused our strength at the courtyard. Because there is nothing specific to guard, I have increased the height and thickness of the perimeter wall and erected more signal towers. I have also laid many traps around the walls and herded most of the animals away. I have left about 100 animals behind as a decoy. By now, they have ridden up a small hill that is overlooking the wide farmlands. The hidden dragon abode is one of the buildings in the main courtyard. Initially, there were only 18 buildings, but now, there are over 60 buildings. With high walls surrounding each building, it is like a mini-city. If the 2,000 men were used to defend the 2-mile perimeter, it will be largely insufficient. Moreover, the enemy would have come prepared. If they focused on 1 or 2 main areas to attack, they can overcome the defenders easily. Xiang Xiaolong shared all his observations and finally suggested, this time, we must use some of the battle strategies from the Mahist scroll and attack the attackers. If we can lay an ambush outside the perimeter wall and coordinate our attacks, we will give them the fight of their life. Teng Yi frowned. I thought about this possibility too. The problem is that Meng Ao is attacking us personally and this man is well versed in warfare. He would not use up all his men in a full attack but will probably base his forces on higher ground and attack us in different waves. Our ambush army will become an isolated army instead and this is disadvantageous for us. Xiang Xiaolong confidently decided, in that case, it is the higher ground that we must establish control first. Pointing to a dense snow forest near a mountain base, he recommended, if we can build an underground tunnel that goes to that forest from here, we can distract the enemy's attacking force. Jing Jun interrupted, without a month or two, it is impossible to build a tunnel like that. Xiang Xiaolong kicked himself for his mistake and changed the topic. In that case, we can build a hidden shelter instead. Teng Yi bitterly laughed, if the shelter can only hide a dozen men or so, it would be fruitless. Moreover, Meng Ao should see through this trick given his battle experience. Xiang Xiaolong thought even harder and happened to see some smoke rising from the farm chimneys. He had a brainwave and exclaimed, I got it. Both men stared at him in shock. Looking at the smoke, Xiang Xiaolong proudly explained, we can dig a few holes along the valleys and fill them with oil, firewood, and other burning materials. It would be better if there is a bad smell created from the burning. When it is lighted, large amounts of smoke can be produced and some of the smoke will be blown uphill towards the higher ground. When the enemy is thrown into confusion, we shall attack them at the perfect time and I guarantee that their forces will be in total disarray and easily destroyed as a result. Jing Jun and Teng Yi were inspired by his strategy. Laughing to himself that this is probably the first form of chemical warfare in history, Xiang Xiaolong continued, the enemies will naturally attack at night. As long as we are careful, we can escape after lighting up the smoke pits. We will also have a wet cloth to cover our faces and avoid breathing in any of the smoke. Jing Jun excitedly cried, I know of some trees nearby called poison oak. When the wood is being burnt, it produces an extremely foul smell. Let me go and cut some now. Finishing his words, he rode away at once. Teng Yi was astonished, third brother is truly creative and wise. In fact, we can set up several of these smoke pits and light up those which are having a favorable wind direction. I shall get some men to prepare these pits now. You should go back and have some rest. At dinner time, Teng Yi is still busy with work. Xiang Xiaolong and Wu Tingfang went to the main hall to dine with Wu Yingyuan and his wife while Qinqing accompanied Ji Yanran and Zhao Ji for dinner in the Hidden Dragon abode. When Xiang Xiaolong came back, Ji Yanran and Qinqing are performing a duet with their flute and qin. His musical knowledge is quite shallow but he still enjoyed their playing. Out of the blue, Ji Yanran suggested that Xiang Xiaolong go for a stroll with Qinqing. Unexpectedly, Qinqing agreed to her idea too. Xiang Xiaolong is beyond delight and realized that Qinqing did not really hold it against him for his earlier intrusion and hurriedly accompanied his love out of the abode.